Okay, you guys, we seriously need to have a discussion about those $25 an hour for an OBM or ops strategist job posts that I keep seeing. I know that you've seen it too, because I see it over and over and over again. And I'm not going to lie, they make me so frustrated and sad at the same time, because they get people who apply for these positions and work for them and who are earning way below what they should be. And it's people who are smart, people who have been doing this work, people who have managed systems and lunches and, running entire businesses behind the scenes. And somehow they are convinced that this is normal or this is what the market will pay. Listen to me carefully. It is not. This post and these types of job posts that I'm seeing, they are not what the market will pay, quote unquote. They are what one small corner of the market will pay. And this is a corner of the market where maybe they don't value done for you work as much as other people. Maybe they just are like, I just need some help and I don't care, whatever. You are somebody who is interchangeable for them and like a line item, not somebody who maybe, they are hoping to develop this deep relationship with. And when this type of person posts this, and they don't value you and they are not willing to pay, guess what happens when you actually work with them? And I say this as somebody who has been that person who has said yes to this type of job posting in the past. And if you are hearing noise in the background, my dog is chewing on things and this is how I keep her quiet. So this is better than the alternative. Okay, so when I started out as a VA, like in 2019, I took on some clients that I really didn't have any business taking on. I wasn't like desperate. One, I didn't know any better. And two, I really, really wanted to quit my 9-to-5 and I had to replace that income. And so I figured, well, any little bit that will get me there will help. And I thought, okay, like this is what's available. I can find it. And I said, okay, fine. And it felt fine at the beginning. Like this is my starting point, and I can just kind of build from here. But these clients, oftentimes there was something off with them right from the start. But, I felt it and I said yes anyways. And as a surprise to nobody, it didn't work out long term. Because a client relationship that starts with a fundamental mismatch in your perceived value, it doesn't just correct itself over time. It stays that way. And so you keep getting paid way under the actual standard market rate and paid as this interchangeable person who is not that valued. And you just keep showing up because, I need the income and I'm doing this. And technically nobody's doing anything wrong, but nobody's right either. And I can promise you, because I've seen it in myself and in clients, my coaching clients, that resentment will start to build. Not right away, but it definitely will build slowly. One day, you've grown into doing strategic work for this client and you're still getting paid this $25 an hour. And you start wondering why you're doing this and not just going back to a 9-to-5 if this is, how little money that you're making. And it's not just me. I will also share a client story. So there is a coaching client in expansion, my one-on-one program, who joined earlier this year, who is so capable, who is so proactive. She's an amazing operations person, systems person. She knows her stuff. She keeps her projects moving. You get the idea. And when she came to me, she was earning maybe around like $600 a month for I don't know, something around like 25 hours and whatever. It worked out to be approximately $25 an hour doing ops work, doing systems work. And I said, no, we have to fix this. And so her client, to her credit, actually acknowledged that she knows that she's underpaying. She just, she just kept going on doing what she does, giving her tasks, things like that. She kept benefiting from somebody whose strategic ops skills were so much more valuable than what she was paying for it. And my client, the ops person, she told me on our very first call that this client of hers was going to be the first one on her list to stop working with once she reaches her income goals. And think about that, right? My client is doing this really high-end strategic work. Her client is getting insane value. Her client knows that she's paying less than what she could. And my client, the ops person, knows that she's worth more. And both of them are just waiting. They're like waiting for the other shoe to drop. They're waiting for it to be over. And it's like she's being treated as a placeholder. And now she didn't have a bad relationship with this client per se, but there's some undercurrent there, right? That doesn't really align with how you want to be feeling when you are working with clients. And the reason that it ended this way is because she was just a person for hire and got hired. So what can you do instead? Because we don't have to do this. This is not amazing. There are basically two ways to get clients. The first way is to, have your social media set up, have maybe your website, whatever, be in places, maybe do some networking, just be in places where people are looking for support. Go to job boards, apply for listings. Somebody books a discovery call, great. Hope that they see your value. And then you have to discuss your rate with this person, and hopefully it's fair. Both of you agree on it. Sometimes that works, of course. Sometimes you find great clients that way. But a lot of times you end up in those conversations where people cannot afford the rate that you have. And because a lot of times those people who are actively posting listings are the ones who just they're shopping for the lowest price. But the second way is to be sought after. It's to have something specific enough where somebody, whether it be a past client, a colleague, somebody who heard you on a podcast, a social media follower, like whatever, they are thinking, and maybe even they'd say to somebody else, like, ooh, like this is what I need. Like I am struggling with this thing and this person can help me. Or they tell somebody else who has that similar problem, I know exactly who you need to talk to. And now they're seeking you out. Those are fundamentally different markets. The first one is asking, who's available and what do they charge? That's all they want to know, right? Can you get the job done? Can you do it within a budget? But the second one is saying, I have this problem. I need to solve this problem. And how can I find that person who's going to solve my problem? And they are not as worried about the price because they are valuing what you do. And the thing is that you don't get into that second category by being better at the first one, right? You're not negotiating your way to a pay that you deserve or that reflects the value that you provide. You don't apply to more and more job opportunities hoping that somebody finally sees your worth. You have to, and I don't like saying have to, but if you think about it in this case, if you are wanting to be seen as somebody who is an expert in something, if you're wanting to be seen as that somebody who can do all the things and be recognized for what you actually do, then you have to build the second one. You have to be the person who people recognize as that person. And I want to be clear about what I mean when I say build something, quote unquote, because I'm not talking about niching down per se into this like weird narrow specialty. Like I only work with gluten-free food coaches in the Pacific Northwest or whatever. Like that's not what I mean by building something. What I mean is having a clear method, knowing specifically what problem you solve, how you solve it, and what it looks like for someone who works with you, with what outcome they walk away with, what problems you're solving, what desires you're helping them achieve, and having your own method that gets that person from A to B. And when you can clearly describe that, it changes your business. Because now you're not just you're a skilled person, period, but you're not just looked at as a skilled person who is available and who somebody can just pay to do, the things, to do the tasks. You become somebody who is seen as the go-to person to solve this specific problem in this specific way. And now the right people are starting to look for you instead of you looking for them. And my client with this $25 an hour situation knows exactly what she's good at, right? Obviously all the systems, all the ops stuff, the automations, et cetera, and she's been doing that as part of what she had been offering in her business for years, but she hadn't packaged it into anything. She had just been selling her time and had been selling her tasks and taking on whoever, signed up for that. And part of what we're doing together is taking all of her expertise, which is real, which is significant, just like yours is, and turning it into her own process. So that way she can lead with that. Something that attracts the kind of client who will look at it and say, oh my God, yes, like I need that. Not like, okay, great. Like, yeah, like I'm adding her to the pile of people that I'm interviewing, right? And that's the shift that you're looking for. It's this shift that it's not going to happen when you just start with marketing. It's going to happen when you get clear, like super clear on your offers and what that does, the transformation and the messaging behind it, and creating it strategically. And when I think about these $25 an hour OBM job posts, the frustration that I know you feel, because I feel it too, I invite you to see that as information. That means when you see these and you say, oh my God, I can't believe that they're paying this and they're expecting to get this high level of service for such a low amount. That means that you've outgrown that corner of the market. You know that you are worth more than that you have skills, you have something specific to offer, and that there are clients out there who 100% will pay for what you're worth because they know it too. If only they could find you. If only you have created your offers and your messaging clear enough and specific enough to be found. And that frustration is the gap, right? So that's the information. The gap has nothing to do with your skills. It has everything to do with the structure, with how they are contained and presented to the world. And slow mornings, which is the thing that most of us got into this for, they don't come from grinding harder in a market that prices you like you are just some task doer, right? That they just need to get things off their plate, have anybody do them. The slow mornings come from building something intentionally that puts you in a whole different conversation, in a whole different room. And the predictable income, the higher predictable income that I know you also started your business for, it is from clients who seek you out. It's from work that feels like yours, that energizes you, that you're excited about. And it's a business. It's also from a business that doesn't require you to take every job up and apply to all of those just to keep the lights on. And that's what happens when you get so clear on your method and how you talk about your method and build from there. And if this is resonating, I have a really cool free training that I just created for you. It is called the Slow Morning Studio, and it is a free 5-day email experience. There are 5 shifts, 5 minutes per day, delivered straight to your inbox. There's no crazy challenge or course that you have to do, no live sessions. It's very peaceful. It's just you, your inbox, and 5 days of creating this foundation. And by the way, if you send me things, I will email you back and give you feedback. And we start with what you want your business to look like, and we build towards an offer and a method that makes that come true. And so you can join that for free at dancingleafsolutions.com/slow-morning-studio. And the link is in the show notes and is clickable as well. So if you have a client like the one that I described today, this placeholder client, and you're already counting down until you can leave them, take this as your sign. You do not have to wait until your income is stable to start building something different. You can do both at the same time, and that's what the Slow Morning Studio helps you to do. And so with that, I will see you guys in the next episode, and I hope that you found this really helpful. That's a wrap on today's episode, and thank you so much for listening. If anything we talked about today made you think, okay, well, what does this actually look like in my business? That's exactly what a free business audit is for. In just 45 minutes, I'll help you identify your unstructured expertise, pinpoint what's keeping you capped, and map out what your signature method could look like. There's a link in the show notes to grab your spot, and I will see you in the next episode.